There we go. Thing went to sleep. I even put computers to sleep. So today's gospel. Carrying no purse, no bag, no sandals, and greet no one on the road. Whatever house you enter, first say, peace to this house. Peace to this house. Peace to this house. Carrying no money, no bag, no sandals. If I had walked, let's say, to Keene, just walked to Keene, carrying nothing more than what was on my back, the first house that would allow me in, you bet your bottom dollar I would wish them peace and hope that peace is returned. Can you imagine being sent out to the towns around here without knowing anybody in the next town, not knowing what to expect, and to just be told to offer peace? Well, what is this peace that Christ speaks of? In the world today, there seems to be few moments of true peace. We are blessed here that if we seek peace, we can find some out in the wilderness. Yet though we can find nature and quiet and solitude, but for most of us, our minds still run. Our thoughts jump from random thought to random thought. I'm cringing because there's a typo here that still might make sense. We also jump from ransom thought to random thought. Sometimes our thoughts are not our own. And of course, a random thought on my mind this week as we celebrated the birth of our nation, and we have so much to be grateful for, and yet this year I felt it surpassed by the shame that we should carry as a nation. At any given time, for the past several weeks, more than 2,000 children have been held in custody of U.S. Border Patrol without their parents. Legally, they're not supposed to be held by border agents for more than 72 hours before being sent to the Department of Health and Human Services, which is then responsible for finding their nearest relative and placing them in a safe and loving home. And this is supposed to be where they stay while their cases are worked through. In practice, some are being held for days, others are being held for weeks, without enough food and without enough toothbrushes, going days without showering. We've just heard reports and reports on the overcrowding and the undercared for. This is a humane issue, so much so that the United Nations have a watchful eye on the United States. Experts at the UN Human Rights Council have stated, we call on the government of the U.S. to release these children from immigration detention and to reunite them with their families based on the best interests of the child and the rights of the child to liberty and family unity. Now, I saw this news clip that said their living conditions were described as squalid and some had untreated medical conditions. Oh. That wasn't reported about the detention centers. That was reported about 100 dogs in a home in New Hampshire, where the owners are now facing charges of animal cruelty, and the dogs are being rehomed into loving families. And this makes me mad only because we are treating our animals better than we treat children. Children, come to us. Lord, I wish peace in our house. We just celebrated the 4th of July celebration of the Declaration of Independence, which declares, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. The Declaration of Independence does not promise happiness, only the pursuit of it, but it does state that life and liberty are unalienable rights, which means they can't be transferred. They belong to humans and humans alone, and they cannot be taken away or denied. Lord, I pray peace upon our house. My heart breaks when I hear of another death in the desert, another family broken apart. Quote, when the alien resides with you in your land, you shall not oppress the alien, The alien who resides with you shall be to you as a citizen among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt, and I am your Lord God. Leviticus 19:33-34. In a world becoming increasingly globalized, more people are leaving their homelands to seek better lives and opportunities in new countries. The reasons for leaving are diverse and complex. Economic necessity, war, or persecution. The U.S. has long been a nation of immigrants, and we have consistently been conflicted about this. We gratefully welcome immigrants and their contributions, and we exclude them, discriminate against them, and at times inflict grave harm upon them. As Christians, we are called to love our neighbors. The Bible is unambiguous in calling us to welcome aliens and strangers in our land, and to love them as we love ourselves. In these times, let us listen to the voice of the still speaking God, and we will learn how to respond to these new sisters and brothers residing among us. End quote. This statement is from the United Church of Christ Immigration Justice page. Sometimes it feels we are so far away we can do nothing. Our hands are tied. We know people are suffering and we feel helpless. The United Church of Christ churches, clergy, and congregations are reaching out with hope and in faith to migrants at our borders and immigrants across the country. Many more are asking what they can do to respond to the government policies that detain and separate families. The Southwest Conference UCC, acting with Justice and Local Church Ministries, has issued 2 calls to action. One for a faithful witness at the border in Arizona at the United States border with Mexico, August 26th to 30th. And another for a faithful witness for the border this fall in cities and towns across America. Now, this was last year's event, but I want you to hear what happened. The Southwest Conference called for a week of faithful witness at the border, and it included a humanitarian mission to the Mexican side of the border to visit and take supplies to asylum seekers in shelters, and camped out at the ports of entry due to a slowdown in applications being received. Solidarity actions at the detention facilities in Eloy and Florence, where parents and kids who were separated from their families were being held. Training and strategy sessions around being an immigrant welcoming congregation, and acting as an advocate and ally with members of the UCC Washington office. Conversations with local ministry partners in Arizona, the Samaritans, No More Deaths, and other immigration ministry groups. And a visit to Operation Streamline Immigration Court, where parents whose children were taken away are appearing in hope of finding their kids. What a brave and strong action and witness. In case you don't realize it, my heart is kind of there and is always with these ministries. And I cannot just run off and join them physically. I wish there was something more I could do. Didn't I say a witness at the border and for the border? What does witness for the border look like? Faithful witness for the border calls congregations and conferences to host their own faithful witnesses. That might include beginning the process of becoming an immigrant welcoming congregation. Organize and attend town halls and candidate forums and ask questions about how candidates would approach immigration policy. Set up in-district visits with your members of Congress to share your UCC faith witness on immigration. Submit letters to the editors and editorials in your local and regional papers. Raise money and collect supplies for humanitarian relief at the border. It says, please use a very specific list of supplies. Supplies needed at the border are razors, toothbrushes, travel-sized toothpaste, bath soap, shampoo, towels, washcloths, feminine products, coloring books and crayons for kids. Write letters of welcome in Spanish that can be distributed to asylum seekers as missives of love and welcome, an alternative message to the government. Fundraise to support living expenses of migrants and seeking asylum who are prohibited by law from holding employment in the U.S. while their case is processed. Now that I didn't know. Can you imagine being like, okay, you can come in, but you can't work? You can come in, but you're not allowed to try to survive. Participate in an immigrant detention visitation program in your area. That would be Dover. Partner with local immigration rights groups to join a rally at a detention facility in your area. And that would be the Stafford House of Corrections. There is still a local coordinator that coordinates regular visitations and protests there. Host a fellowship event with the local migrants or an immigrant group in your community. Get to know one another and listen to their stories. Contribute to the UCC Neighbors in Need appeal, which we do. I wish peace on this house. Just as the 70 went out without anything and sought refuge, food, and welcome, so are these, the very least of the world. We're coming to our borders. So I'm calling out to you as a loving congregation to sign up and work. Work with me to see which, if any of these actions, we can take a stand in, even if it's just collecting supplies and mailing them to the church in Tucson that's right on the border. Christian charity with our brothers and sister congregations around this nation is an opportunity to expand not just our horizons, but to expand God's message beyond our walls. We could be participants in taking action to make this a just world for all. Now, just so you know, this isn't the only topic of opportunity I'll be speaking on over the next few weeks. I'm going to look at some of the other programs in the United Church of Christ and what we can do just to lift it up. I can't do it. We are congregationalists. You have to decide what we're going to do, or how we're going to act, or if we're going to act. But we're going to talk about what it means to be a wise congregation, which is a congregation that works on mental health issues and how we can be more welcoming around that. What it means to be partnered with the disabled ministries of the United Church of Christ, or what it means to be a just peace church. There are many opportunities to engage in the world around us without having to leave our homes to do it. Although I wouldn't mind if we decided to leave our homes to do it. But it's something to think about, how we as Christians can spread the word that we believe in, a message of our church, which is a just world for all.